The message came at midnight, Earth time. Was sleeping in his small apartment in Seoul when his phone rang. He looked at the screen and saw a number he did not recognize. When he answered, a cold voice spoke words that would change everything. Ambassador Park, the Galactic Council demands your presence. You will come to Station Prime within 48 hours. This is not a request. The line went dead. Sat up in his bed and rubbed his eyes. He had been Earth's ambassador to the galaxy for 3 years now. In that time, he had learned many things about the alien races that ruled the stars. He learned that they were old. He learned that they were powerful. And most importantly, he learned that they looked at humans the way humans looked at insects. He made a call to the Earth Defense Ministry. Within an hour, he was in a car heading to the spaceport. His translator, a young woman named, met him at the gate. She was carrying 2 bags and looked like she had not slept either. "Do you know what this is about?" she asked as they walked toward the ship. "No," said, "but it cannot be good. The Council never summons anyone unless they want something." The ship was small and fast. It was one of the few vessels Earth had that could travel between stars. The humans had only learned how to build such ships 10 years ago when they made first contact with the galaxy. The aliens had laughed at their primitive technology. They said humans were like children playing with fire. Did not mind their laughter. He had learned to keep his face calm and his thoughts hidden. This was the most important skill for any human dealing with aliens. Show them nothing. Let them think whatever they wanted, and always be ready for anything. The journey to Station Prime took 30 hours. Spent most of that time reading reports about the current state of galactic politics. There were 12 major empires in the known galaxy. Each one had thousands of ships and millions of soldiers. Earth had maybe 200 ships and a few 100,000 soldiers. The numbers were not even close. But knew something the aliens did not know. He knew that Earth had been preparing. For 10 years, ever since first contact, the humans had been working in secret, building, planning, waiting. The ships the aliens saw were not all that Earth had, not even close. Brought him coffee and sat down across from him. "I have been listening to the alien communications," she said. "They are talking about us." "What are they saying?" "They think we are weak. They think we will agree to anything they ask." She paused. "They are planning to take something from us." Nodded slowly. "I thought so. Do you know what?" 3 planets, the ones we colonized last year. Apparently they have resources the Council wants. Closed his eyes. Those 3 planets were home to 2 million humans now. Families, children, people who had left Earth to build new lives among the stars. And the Council wanted to take them away like they were pieces on a game board. "We will see about that," he said quietly. Station Prime was the largest structure had ever seen. It was a massive ring floating in space, big enough to hold a small moon inside it. Ships from 100 different species flew around it like insects around a light. The station was the heart of galactic civilization. This was where the 12 empires met to make decisions that affected trillions of lives. When ship landed, a group of soldiers was waiting for them. They were tall creatures with blue skin and 4 arms. Recognized them as the most powerful of the 12 empires. They did not speak. They simply pointed toward a transport vehicle and waited. And climbed into the vehicle. It moved through the station at high speed, passing through sections filled with aliens of every shape and size. Some looked like animals from Earth. Others looked like nothing had ever seen before. All of them stopped to stare at the 2 humans. "They are not used to seeing us," whispered. "No," agreed. "Humans do not come here often. We are not important enough." The transport stopped in front of a massive door. The soldiers led them through it and found himself in the council chamber. It was a circular room, bigger than any stadium on Earth. Seats rose up on all sides, filled with representatives from the 12 empires. In the center of the room was a small platform. This was where was supposed to stand. He walked to the platform with beside him. Every eye in the room was watching them. Every alien was silent. The weight of their attention pressed down on like a physical force. At the top of the chamber sat the High Chancellor. His name was, and he was the leader of the Empire. He was ancient, his blue skin covered with the marks of age, but his eyes were sharp and cruel. He looked down at the way a cat looks at a mouse. "Human," said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "You have been brought here to receive the decision of the Council." Said nothing, he simply waited. "The planets you call New Hope, Sunrise, and Eden have been claimed by the Galactic Council. You will remove all human presence from these worlds within 7 cycles. This is not negotiable." A murmur ran through the chamber. Some of the aliens were laughing. Others were nodding in approval. They all expected the same thing. They expected the human to bow his head and accept. Looked at, she was pale, but her eyes were steady. She gave him a small nod. He turned back to face the High Chancellor. His heart was beating fast, but his voice was calm when he spoke. "May I have some water, please?" The chamber went silent, blinked, confused by the strange request. "Water," he repeated. "Yes, it was a long journey. I am thirsty." For a long moment, no one moved. Then a servant hurried forward with a glass of water, took it, drank slowly, and set the glass down on the platform. "Thank you," he said. "Now you were saying something about our planets." The laughter in the chamber died. Something had changed. The small human on the platform was not acting the way he was supposed to act. He was not afraid. He was not bowing. He was asking for water like he had all the time in the world. Leaned forward, his ancient eyes narrowing. For the first time in centuries, he felt something he did not recognize. It was the beginning of doubt. High Chancellor stared at the human standing on the platform below. In his 800 years of life, he had seen many species come before the Council. He had seen them beg. He had seen them cry. He had seen them offer everything they had just to survive another day. But he had never seen one ask for water. "Perhaps you do not understand," said, his voice cold. "This is not a negotiation. The Council has made its decision. You have 7 cycles to remove your people from those planets. If you do not, we will remove them for you." The other members of the Council nodded. The representative from the Empire, a creature that looked like a giant insect, made a clicking sound that meant agreement. The delegate from whose body was made of living crystal, flashed bright colors of approval. Stood perfectly still. He did not bow. He did not shake. He simply looked up at the High Chancellor with calm eyes. "I understand completely," he said. "You want our planets. You want our people to leave their homes. You want us to give up everything we have built in the last 3 years." "Yes," said, "that is exactly what we want." "May I ask why?" The question hung in the air. Several aliens shifted in their seats. This was not how things were supposed to go. The human was supposed to accept. He was supposed to be grateful that the Council was giving him 7 cycles instead of destroying his colonies immediately. Leaned back in his chair. "You may ask, though we are not required to answer, but I will tell you, human, because I want you to understand your place in this galaxy." He spread his forearms wide. "Those planets contain rare minerals, minerals that the Council needs. Your species stumbled upon them by accident. You did not earn them. You do not deserve them." "I see," said. "And because you want these minerals, you expect us to simply walk away." "We do not expect it. We demand it." His voice grew harder. "Do you know what we do to species that refuse the Council's demands? Do you know how many civilizations we have erased from the galaxy?" Standing beside, translated his words into English through a small device in her ear. She kept her face blank, but her hands were trembling slightly. She knew the history. She knew that the Council had destroyed entire worlds for refusing to obey. "I know your history," said. "I have studied it carefully." "Then you know what will happen if you refuse." "I know what you believe will happen." The chamber fell completely silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. eyes widened slightly. No one had ever spoken to him like this. No one had ever dared. "What did you say?" the High Chancellor asked quietly. Took a step forward. He was a small figure on that platform, surrounded by the most powerful beings in the galaxy. But somehow, in that moment, he did not look small at all. "I said that I know what you believe will happen. You believe that you will threaten us and we will obey. You believe that we are weak, that we are young, that we have no choice but to accept whatever you decide." He paused. "You are wrong." A wave of noise swept through the chamber. Aliens shouted in a dozen different languages. Some were angry, others were confused. A few were laughing, certain that the human had lost his mind. Raised one hand, and the chamber went quiet again. "You are brave, human, I will give you that. Brave or stupid, I am not sure which." He smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "But bravery will not save you. Stupidity will not protect your people. You have nothing. No fleet. No weapons. No allies. You are alone in a galaxy that does not care if you live or die." Nodded slowly as if considering these words. "You are right about some things. We are young. We have only been in space for a short time. We have no allies among your empires." "Then you admit your weakness." "No, I admit our situation. But situation and weakness are not the same thing." Looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of the alien representatives one by one. "You see us as children. You think we do not understand how the galaxy works, but we understand better than you know." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It was a communicator, standard Earth technology. He held it up for everyone to see. "This device is connected to Earth. Right now, billions of people are watching this meeting. They are seeing everything, hearing everything. They know what you are demanding. They know what you are threatening." Made a dismissive gesture. "And what does that matter? Let them watch. Let them see their leaders fail. It will make them easier to control when we come for them next." "Perhaps," said, "or perhaps it will remind them of something important." "And what is that?" "That humans have never surrendered without a fight. Not once in our entire history." The words echoed through the chamber. Translated them for the record, her voice steady now. She understood what was doing. He was not just speaking to the council. He was speaking to every human watching back on Earth. He was reminding them who they were. Laughed. It was a cold, cruel sound. "You speak of fighting against us. Human, we have ships that could destroy your entire planet in hours. We have weapons you cannot even imagine. What could you possibly do against us?" "I do not know," admitted. "Maybe nothing. Maybe you will destroy us all just as you have destroyed others before us. Maybe 1,000 years from now, no one will even remember that humans existed." He paused, letting the words sink in. "But I do know one thing. If that day comes, it will not be because we gave up. It will not be because we surrendered our homes without a fight. It will not be because we let creatures like you take everything from us while we stood by and watched." The chamber was completely silent now. No one was laughing anymore. "You want our planets," continued. "You want our people to leave. You want us to bow down and accept your power over us." He shook his head slowly. "We will not do it." Stared at him for a long moment. Then he leaned forward, his ancient eyes burning with anger. "You have 7 cycles, human. 7 cycles to change your mind. After that, there will be no more talking. There will only be fire and death." He pointed one long finger at, "Use your time wisely." Bowed his head slightly, not in submission but in acknowledgement. "I intend to," he said. As he turned to leave the platform, walked beside him. She did not speak until they were out of the chamber and back in the transport vehicle. "That was either the bravest thing I have ever seen," she said quietly, "or the most foolish." Looked out the window at the massive station around them. Somewhere out there, beyond the stars, Earth was waiting. Billions of people were watching, wondering what would happen next. "Maybe both," he said, "but it had to be done. They needed to see that we are not afraid." Are we not afraid? Smiled, but there was no joy in it. Of course we are. Only fools are not afraid, but fear and surrender are not the same thing. He pulled out his communicator and typed a message. It was addressed to Admiral, commander of Earth's hidden fleet. The message was simple. It begins. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. A human had refused the council. A human had stood before the 12 most powerful empires in existence and said no. It was unthinkable. It was impossible. And yet it had happened. In the halls of Station Prime, alien diplomats gathered in small groups, speaking in hushed voices. They did not understand what they had witnessed. For 10,000 years, the Council had ruled the galaxy. No species had ever them and survived. The humans had to be mad. There was no other explanation. Back on Earth, the reaction was different. Billions of people watched the recording of Stand. They watched him ask for water. They watched him look the High Chancellor in the eye and refuse to surrender. And when the recording ended, something changed in the hearts of humanity. Fear was still there. Everyone knew what the Council could do. Everyone knew that their planet could be destroyed, their colonies burned, their entire species erased from history. But alongside the fear, there was something else now, something that had been sleeping for a long time. Pride. In Seoul, crowds gathered in the streets. They did not know what would happen next, but they knew they were proud of the man who had spoken for them. In Tokyo, in New York, in Cairo and Mumbai, and people came together. They held up signs with simple words, "We do not surrender." Admiral received message on his ship, the Silent Thunder. It was one of 10,000 vessels hidden in a region of space that the aliens did not know existed. For 10 years, humanity had been building this fleet in secret. They had hidden it behind a cloud of cosmic dust, far from any alien sensors. Was an old man now. He had spent most of his life preparing for this moment. When he was young, he had seen the aliens arrive at Earth. He had watched them laugh at human technology. He had heard them call his species primitive and worthless, and he had sworn on that day that he would make them regret those words. He read's message twice, then called his officers to the bridge. "It begins," he said. "Prepare the fleet." The officers moved quickly and quietly. They had trained for years. They knew exactly what to do. Within hours, 10,000 ships were ready to move. But did not give the order to attack. Not yet. He understood that war was not just about weapons and ships. It was about timing. It was about surprise. And most importantly, it was about showing your enemy that you were not what they thought you were. Back on Station Prime and were taken to a small room. They were not prisoners exactly, but they were not free to leave either. The Council wanted them nearby in case they changed their minds. "How long do you think we have?" asked. "Until attacks, I do not know." He said 7 cycles, but he might not wait that long. He was angry. Angry people make fast decisions. Nodded. "The people on the colonies. They are scared. I have been reading the messages from New Hope. Families are asking what they should do. Should they stay? Should they try to run?" Walked to the small window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 2 million humans were waiting for news. They had left Earth to find new homes, new lives. They had worked hard to build something good on those distant worlds. And now, the Council wanted to take it all away. "Tell them to stay," he said. "Tell them help is coming." "Is it?" Turned to face her. His eyes were tired, but there was fire in them. "Yes, it is." On the 4th day, called another meeting of the Council. He wanted to show the galaxy what happened to species that the will of the empires. He wanted to make an example of the humans. The chamber was full again. Every representative from every empire was present. They had come to watch the humans break. They had come to see them beg for mercy. Walked to the platform once more. Was beside him as always. They stood together, 2 small figures in a room full of giants. "Human," said, "you have had 4 days to think about your situation. The Council has been patient. We have given you time to understand your mistake. He leaned forward. Have you come to your senses? Looked up at the High Chancellor. He thought about the fleet waiting in the darkness. He thought about Admiral and the 10,000 ships. He thought about the billions of people watching on Earth, hopping and praying for good news. And he thought about all the species the Council had destroyed, all the civilizations that had been erased because they were too weak to fight back, all the history that had been lost, all the lives that had been ended, all the dreams that had been crushed under the weight of galactic power. Yes, he said, I have thought about my situation very carefully. Smiled. Good, then you will accept our demands. No. The single word echoed through the chamber. Representatives from a dozen empires gasped. Some stood up from their seats. Others began shouting in their alien languages. Raised his hand for silence, but his face had turned dark with rage. What did you say? I said no. His voice was calm and clear. Humans do not bargain under threats. We do not give up our homes because someone stronger tells us to. We do not surrender. Then you choose death. For yourself, for your people, for your entire species. Maybe, but it will be our choice, not yours. Stood up from his chair. He was tall, almost 3 meters, and his body radiated power and age. He pointed down at with one long finger. You are a fool. You think your words mean something. You think your pride will protect you. I have destroyed civilizations far older and stronger than yours. I have watched worlds burn. I have heard the screams of trillions as their homes turned to ash. His voice dropped to a whisper, and I enjoyed it. Did not look away. I believe you. I believe you have done all those terrible things. I believe you enjoyed them. He took a breath. But I also believe that one day you will meet a species that will not burn. One day you will threaten someone who will make you regret it. And you think that species is humanity. Smiled. It was a small smile, almost sad. I do not think anything, I know. The chamber erupted in chaos. Aliens were shouting, arguing, demanding action. Some called for immediate attack. Others warned that the humans might be planning something. A few suggested waiting, watching, trying to understand what made this small species so confident. But had heard enough. Silence, he roared. The chamber went quiet. I will not waste any more time on these creatures. The fleet will move immediately. We will burn their colonies first, then their planet. And when it is done, we will forget they ever existed. He looked down at one last time. You had your chance, human. Remember that. You could have lived. You chose to die. Bowed his head slightly. We all die eventually, Chancellor, but some things are worth dying for. Reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cold, but her grip was strong. She did not say anything. She did not need to. They stood together on the platform, 2 humans against a galaxy, and waited for whatever came next. His order went out across the galaxy. 500 warships from the Empire began moving toward human space. Each ship was massive, carrying enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Together, they were an unstoppable force. Or so everyone believed. The fleet commander was unnamed. He was young for his kind, only 200 years old, but he had earned his position through countless victories. He had crushed rebellions, conquered planets, and never lost a single battle. The mission to destroy the humans was supposed to be easy, a quick show of force, a reminder to the galaxy of what happened to those who the Council stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He watched the stars streak past as his fleet moved through hyperspace. In a few hours, they would reach the first human colony. In a few days, humanity would be nothing but a memory. Commander, one of his officers said, we are receiving a transmission from Station Prime. Put it through. The face of High Chancellor appeared on the screen. He looked pleased, almost hungry. Commander, I wanted to wish you success on your mission. Make it painful. I want the other species to remember what they saw for 1,000 years. Bowed his head. It will be done, Chancellor. The humans will not survive. The transmission ended and turned back to the viewport. He felt no guilt about what he was about to do. The humans had been given a chance. They had refused it. Now they would pay the price. But deep in his mind, something bothered him. The human ambassador had been so calm, so confident. It did not make sense. Why would a species with no power refuse to surrender? Why would they choose extinction over submission? Push the thought away. It did not matter why. The humans would die regardless of their reasons. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the human colony called New Hope. It was a small world, green and blue, circled by 2 moons. From space, it looked peaceful, beautiful even. Almost felt sorry for the creatures living on its surface. "Scan the area," he ordered. "Find any human ships and destroy them." His officers worked quickly. The scanners searched the space around the planet, looking for any sign of defense. They found nothing. "No ships detected, Commander. The humans appear to have no military presence here." Nodded. This was expected. The humans were weak. They had no fleet. They could not possibly defend themselves against the might of the Empire. "Prepare the bombardment weapons," he said. "We will start with the major cities." The destroyer of worlds moved closer to the planet, its weapons charged with a deep humming sound. In moments, the first shots would fall. In hours, millions of humans would be dead. And then the alarm started screaming. "Commander, multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace, hundreds, thousands of them." Spun toward the display screen. His eyes went wide. Ships, human ships, they were everywhere. They appeared in a ring around the fleet, emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation. 10,000 vessels, ranging from small fighters to massive warships. They filled the void like a wall of steel and fire. "That is impossible," whispered. "The humans do not have this many ships. They do not have any ships." "They are real, Commander. They are targeting us." On the bridge of the Silent Thunder, Admiral watched the enemy fleet with calm eyes. He had waited 10 years for this moment. 10 years of building. 10 years of hiding. 10 years of letting the aliens think humanity was weak and helpless. Now it was time to show them the truth. "Open a channel to the enemy flagship," he ordered. His communications officer nodded. "Channel open, Admiral." Leaned forward. "Fleet, this is Admiral of the Earth Defense Navy. You are surrounded. You have one chance to survive." On the destroyer of worlds heard the human's words. He could not believe what was happening. This was supposed to be a simple mission, an easy victory. Instead, he was facing an enemy fleet that outnumbered him 20-1. "How?" he demanded. "How do you have these ships?" His voice was cold. "You never asked. You were too busy laughing at us, too busy calling us primitive, too busy thinking we were no threat." He paused. "You were wrong." Looked at his tactical display. The human ships were not primitive at all. Their weapons were advanced, their shields strong, their formation perfect. Somehow, impossibly, the humans had built a fleet that could match any power in the galaxy. "You will not take this planet," continued. "You will not harm a single human being. You will turn your ships around and leave this space, or you will die here." For a long moment said nothing. He thought about his orders. He thought about the High Chancellor's demands. He thought about his honor as a warrior and a commander. Then he thought about his crew. 500 ships, millions of lives, all of them would be lost if he fought this battle. "I need to speak with the Council," he said finally. "I need new orders." "No," said. "You do not have time for that. You have 30 seconds to begin your retreat. After that, we open fire." 20 seconds passed. The officers looked at their commander. They were waiting for orders. They were waiting for him to tell them what to do. 15 seconds. Closed his eyes. He had never retreated. He had never run from a fight, but this was not a fight. This was a trap, and he had walked straight into it. 10 seconds. "Turn the fleet around," he said quietly. "We are leaving." His officers stared at him in shock, but they obeyed. The 500 warships began to move, turning away from the planet, heading back toward the hyperspace point. On the silent thunder watched them go. His officers were cheering, celebrating their victory, but did not celebrate. He knew this was only the beginning. "Send a message to Ambassador," he said. "Tell him the fleet is in position. Tell him it is time for Phase 2. On Station Prime received the message on his communicator. He read it twice, then looked at. "The fleet has arrived," he said. "The Council's ships are retreating." His eyes went wide. It worked. The plan actually worked. "So far," stood up from his chair. "But we are not finished yet. We showed them our strength. Now we need to show them our will." He walked to the door of their small room and opened it. The guards outside looked at him in confusion. "I need to speak with the High Chancellor," said. "Immediately." The guards exchanged glances. One of them nodded and reached for his communicator. "Tell him," continued, "that the situation has changed. Tell him that if he wants to survive the night, he will listen to what I have to say." The news of the retreat spread across Station Prime like wildfire. Within hours, every species on the station knew what had happened. The humans had a fleet. The humans had driven back 500 warships without firing a single shot. The humans were not weak at all. Panic began to grow. In the council chamber, representatives from the 12 empires argued with each other. Some demanded immediate action against the humans. Others called for negotiation. A few suggested running away and hopping the humans would not follow them. High Chancellor sat in his chair, silent and still. His ancient face showed no emotion, but inside he was burning with rage. He had ruled the galaxy for centuries. He had crushed every enemy who dared to stand against him. And now, a species that had only been in space for 10 years was making him look like a fool. When the guards brought into the chamber did not stand. He did not speak. He simply stared at the human with eyes full of hatred. Walked to the platform and stopped. Stood beside him, recording everything for the people of Earth to see. "You asked to speak with me," said finally. His voice was quiet, dangerous. "Speak." Looked around the chamber. The alien representatives were watching him with a mixture of fear and anger. They did not understand how this had happened. They did not understand how a primitive species had hidden such power from them for so long. "High Chancellor," said, "I have come to inform you that the situation has changed." "Changed?" Voice dripped with scorn. "Your fleet surprised us, I admit that, but it changes nothing. We have thousands of ships. We have weapons that can destroy stars. Your little fleet will be crushed." "Perhaps," agreed. "You have more ships than we do. You have more weapons. If this becomes a full war, you might win eventually." He paused. "But it will not be easy, and it will not be quick. And when it is over, how many of your people will be dead? How many of your worlds will be burned?" Leaned forward. "You threaten us." "No, I am telling you the truth. The same truth you told us when you demanded our planets. You said we could not win against you. You were right. But winning and surviving are not the same thing." He stepped closer to the platform's edge, looking up at the assembled representatives. "Humans have a word for what we are prepared to do. We call it mutually assured destruction. If you attack us, we will fight. We will lose eventually. But before we fall, we will make sure you lose too. We will burn your worlds. We will destroy your fleets. We will make you pay such a terrible price that you will curse the day you decided to threaten humanity." The chamber was completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. "You see," continued, "we are not like the other species you have conquered. We do not surrender. We do not give up. When we are pushed, we push back. When we are hurt, we hurt back. It is not smart. It is not logical, but it is who we are." He looked directly at. "So here is what will happen. You will withdraw your demand for our planets. You will recognize humanity as an equal member of the galactic community, and you will never threaten us again." Laughed. It was a hollow, bitter sound. "And if we refuse?" "Then we go to war, right now, today. Admiral's fleet is already moving towards Station Prime. In 6 hours, 10,000 human ships will be in position around this station. We will give you one chance to surrender. If you refuse, we will open fire. You would not dare. You would be killed along with everyone else. Smiled. It was a sad smile full of acceptance. Yes, I would. So would millions of humans across the galaxy. But we are willing to die for what we believe in. Are you? He turned to face the other representatives. This is not just about this is about all of you. For 10,000 years, you have ruled through fear. You have crushed anyone who stood against you. You have made the galaxy a place where the strong take whatever they want and the weak suffer. His voice grew stronger. That ends today, not because we are stronger than you, not because we are better than you, but because we are willing to pay any price for our freedom. We are willing to sacrifice everything. The representative made a clicking sound. Why? Why would you risk extinction for a few planets? Turned to face the insect-like creature. Because if we give up now, we will give up again later. Because if we let you take our homes today, you will take more tomorrow. Because there are some things worth fighting for, even if you know you cannot win. He looked back at. So make your choice, High Chancellor. War or peace, destruction or cooperation, the decision is yours. For a long moment said nothing. His ancient eyes studied the human on the platform. He saw no fear there. No doubt, only the calm certainty of someone who had already accepted whatever fate awaited him. And in that moment, understood something he had never understood before. He understood why the humans had survived for so long on their little planet. He understood why they had spread to the stars so quickly. He understood why they were different from every other species in the galaxy. They were not logical, they were not practical, they were something far more dangerous. They were stubborn. The council will discuss your demands, said slowly. We will give you our answer within 1 hour. Bowed his head. We will be waiting. 1 hour later, the council reconvened. The representatives from the 12 empires had argued and debated and threatened each other. But in the end, they had reached a decision. High Chancellor stood before them, his face dark with humiliation. The council accepts your terms, he said. Your planets will remain under human control. Humanity will be recognized as an equal member of the galactic community, and we will negotiate any future disputes peacefully. Listen to the words. He did not smile, he did not celebrate, he simply nodded. Thank you, High Chancellor. I hope this is the beginning of a new relationship between our peoples. Said nothing. He turned and walked out of the chamber. The other representatives followed, leaving and alone on the platform. Finally allowed herself to breathe. We did it, she whispered. I cannot believe we actually did it. We survived, corrected her. That is all, the hard part comes next. What do you mean? Building trust, learning to live with them, showing them that we are not enemies. He looked at the empty seats around them. They hate us now, they fear us. It will take generations to change that. Nodded slowly. But at least we have generations now. Before today we had nothing. Smiled. Yes, we have time, and time is all humans have ever needed. They walked out of the council chamber together. Outside, the station was buzzing with activity. Aliens of every species were talking about what had happened. Some were angry, some were frightened. But all of them were looking at the two humans with new eyes. Back on Earth, billions of people watched the broadcast. They saw their ambassador stand firm against the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They saw him refuse to surrender, refuse to bargain, refuse to be afraid. And in homes and streets and schools around the world, a new generation of humans began to dream of the stars. They did not know what the future would bring. They did not know what challenges awaited them, but they knew one thing for certain. Humanity would never bow. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The small planet called Earth, the young species called humanity, the primitive creatures who had stumbled into the stars only 10 years ago. They were not to be underestimated. Because humans never bluff. And they never, ever surrender.